Hi, I'm Çlaire Lightening. Hi, I'm Çlaire Lightening. Girl. So I wanted to talk about something that I experienced, and I think that this is a topic that a lot of people find a lot of interest in. You know, whether the interest is for propaganda or for pleasure or research. I found that a lot of people have a lot of interest in this topic. I had a lot of interest in this topic in the past. What I'm talking about, that would help, right? The topic that I want to talk about is the Grimes and Duffy occult. I have spent a lot of years myself researching, you know, like what is the Illuminati. I've done a lot of religious research with, I got so deep into the Latter-day Saints. A lot of people call them the Mormons. I got deep into their church and I became a member. I've been to the baptisms of the dead. That's about as far as it went with them. I've always been around different types of churches and pastors, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to disown or claim any type of religion. I just want to leave it at this, that I am open-minded to alternative thinking. I think that a lot of people are counting on me, they're counting on someone, and I feel like it's my responsibility to step up and speak about this. So like I said I was going to talk about the occult, the Grimes and Duffy occult, and I guess basically the Illuminati. So there's all this question about, like, what is the Illuminati? Who runs the Illuminati? How do you join the Illuminati? You know, a lot of people want to know. You know, you can basically figure, what do you want to know? So there are rumors about this Grimes and Duffy occult, and if you don't know, if you can't see it on my face, I'm Grimes. I'm the original artist Grimes. I'm just, you know, I made all that content about 8. Like, I stopped Grimes and then I moved on to Confederates around 9. So I'm 40 now. I just turned 40, and I didn't even know about, you know, the music and all this stuff. I was tranquilized as a child, and I went through a lot of stuff, and so now I'm finding out, you know, a little bit deeper into my childhood. There's this issue of me being the high priestess of an occult, and people want to know, what is this occult? What is the Grimes and Duffy occult? How do you join it? What's it about? We want to know, right? Me too. I realized that I'm the high priestess of the occult, and that's like very humbling. This isn't exactly the type of background that I come from, but I am good enough, open-minded, wise to, I guess, accept my fate. What happened was, when I was about 2-3 years old, I was singing Alice Glass. I was doing Alice Glass, Crystal Castles. I was a fashion model for Fecal Matter. I would wear stilts, and the stilts would be inside the boots. I was only about 2 years old when I did Fecal Matter, and somewhere between then I started doing Alice Glass and Crystal Castles. So I was about 3 years old, 84, 85, 86, 87, so around 1987. I don't know how comfortable they are about me saying their names. I don't know if they want me to say their names. I don't know if they don't want me to say their names. I'm going to try and keep the names of the people who brought me out there on hush for now, because we're not on good terms. When I was a toddler, these people took me out to like a building. You might consider it a church or sanctuary. And anyways, it's like a building is out in the middle of a farm somewhere. I don't even remember where it was at. They locked me in this room with this guy and he looked like a monster. And they basically said, we're not gonna let you out until one of you are dead. So, I mean, I guess basically they were rooting for me. And so I guess the story about this guy is that he was a pedophile and he had been very deformed. And I guess he was the leader of the Illuminati or the occult or whatever. I think that now these people that brought me out there, I guess they basically decided to call the occult Holy Rain. I guess as some type of refreshment or something. I don't know. There is a movie. It's one of my Alice Glass videos. You'll see the monster. You'll see me. I'm a little girl, like hair, and the monsters. I don't even know if it's right to call this guy a monster because I don't really know. I was only like, I probably barely just turned 3 years old. That it's real. I mean, that's not just like a movie that we acted out. That's real. That really happened. And whatever happened with this guy, me killing him made that my right and my inheritance. It's basically, to the best of my understanding, to discover, because I used to be like, Bro, the Illuminati's after me. Yeah, they're on my ass.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
People go through that. It's understandable. There are groups, gangs, cartel. I want to say the legal terms, not the religious terms, because when it comes to religion, two people could be Christians and not believe the same thing, and two people could be Satan worshipers and not believe the same thing. My standpoint on this issue is that basically they were like, you're Satan, you're Lucifer now, you're like the embodiment of Lucifer. And I'm like 3 years old. What if I was 3 years old? And a lot of people who know me, they know that I'm very vulnerable and naive, and especially at only 3 years old. So that was like weird. I don't know how to, because I want to be open-minded about this, because this is a big responsibility for, a 3-year-old, and now I'm 40, and I'm like, oh, it's me. I'm supposed to step up and address it. So the way that I see it is that, we rely on the police a lot. We, as citizens, rely on the police, we rely on the government, and so forth. And we don't want corruption in places of security. We work and we pay tax dollars, and some of us go through other things, and some people pay more or less, whatever, you know how it works, alright? So we want to know that our security, our police officers are doing their job, they're not corrupt. We want to make sure that the police have moral standards. And we don't want corrupt police running the prison. I feel like, I don't know, it's my job as the Illuminati High Priestess or the Occult High Priestess. I don't know how you believe that, and I want to keep open-mindedness about the subject and this issue, because I know that it is very sacred to a lot of people. And I want you to know that I do take this seriously, and I want you to understand that what I've been through, why nobody's, giving answers and stuff like that. And I have been through this experience, and I feel like I need to give, I just feel like I need to talk about this and give my experience, because I think it's important for people to have answers about this, about the Illuminati. And I feel like I was brought into this occult as the high priestess, and that's my job. I'm like, oh, it's me. I'm supposed to. I just want to share that with you because I know a lot of people have questions. And basically, I just feel like, I'm the police of hell. And in a way, I think that this is also, some kind of, connection of what working together is supposed to be. So Lucifer is like God's best angel, right? I know that the scriptures say that he fell from heaven, he got kicked out, and you know the story, right? But I just want to consider what could be lost in translation and what we can learn by being open-minded and thinking logically. If God was going to have someone, run a prison, he'd want someone trustworthy to run the prison or the hell of the lake of fire. And I'm not saying that there was or wasn't any type of miscommunication and translation. I'm just trying to be open-minded to the logic of that. And so I don't want to feel like this isn't an honor. People are out there and y'all want it. Y'all want a club. People want to join the Illuminati. How do you join the Illuminati? Who's in charge of the Illuminati? When you write, you look up things and you want to hey, I want to join the Illuminati. How do we do that? And you find, I'm sure that you would find people who advertise, hey, write to us, send us $25 for an application, and we'll send you that application and fill it out and this and that. But they could be phishing you. So what I want to explain with this is with the Alice Glass and that video, and I do they just give you a bunch of talks like, hey, anybody could write books and talk your ear off and tell you what they want for their club to be. So I just, I think that's pretty valid for me to say that, hey, I'm the high priestess of the occult, and I believe that this is my job, for me to stop asking who's the priestess of the Illuminati, who runs the Illuminati. It's me. I don't know what you've heard. It's pretty bold of me to step up and take claim to that, because how many people have already done that, right? Right? But do they have Alice Glass? Hopefully you consider where I'm coming from. It's not that I do or don't believe in any of this. I'm just very open-minded. This is something that I inherited. So here I am. I guess basically I want to know, what do people want? What do the people mostly want who want to be a part of this club? I'm open to ideas, and you can send me your ideas. You can send my management ideas, apolloniabanez@gmail.com. Or, you can direct message me, you can message in the comments, hey, let's talk about it. What do we want? Because the way I see it is that everything's cut off. Like books and all that stuff that was in the past, I can change that. We can change that. What do we want it to be? It doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be about murdering babies. And I'm going to tell you now, if that's what you think, then you're kicked out immediately. You know what I'm saying? What does it matter? Is that something that we want? Because this is new to me too, but this is something that we can build as a community and ground together. Because I know, I used to be into I would go down YouTube rabbit holes and I would watch everything that I could about the Illuminati and how they, do this and that and why they do that. There's a lot of spins and propaganda around that, and I just feel like maybe it's not all that, but, because I just want to explain is that somewhere as a child I gained intel that I was going to be tranquilized, I was going to be robbed of my music, that it was good, and that it was worth a lot of money. We did shows. I never handled my money. I was a little kid. I didn't know what money was. My brother taught me to talk, and my other brother taught me to make noise, and one thing led to another. And then I was Olena, and I was Glass, and Liz 2K. And then they were taking me out to a farm, to some church out on a farm, and I was doing some crazy thing. I'm sorry if that offends you. I was just a child. And not just because I was kidnapped and dragged out to a farm, just because I was kidnapped and dragged out to a funny farm. It doesn't have to be bad. Well, some people like bad. Some things could be bad, like a bad girl could be a good thing, you know what I'm saying? So, it doesn't have to be evil or spiteful, it's not. That's my decision to make. So any type of murders and human sacrificing or being cruel. In Christianity, there are, like when you first start reading the Bible and it talks about the different animal sacrifices and that you make for different types of sins and things like that. And with like things like that are considered occultists, like paganism, they're usually about having parties, having feasts, doing fasts, doing special things, special occasions. It's usually about, sometimes it's about, well, we don't eat meat, we plant flowers, and it's very humbling and soft and sweet and pastel. And I seem to have always noticed this clash in both sides. Idealistically, we think as a cult, it's something like a group of serial killers, like a mafia or a gang or a cartel. And I'm not saying that I do have a serious problem with that. But I am the high priestess, and if I don't speak out, if I didn't find out who I am, if I don't speak out about this and say, hey, it's me, then somebody else is going to, like the Grimes account, or the Kim Petras account and stuff, and they're frauds. So I know that if I don't speak out and show my face and say, hey, it's me, I'm 40 years old, I know that you've heard a different story or whatever, but if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, and they're going to steal it, and they're going to mess it up. And I keep saying, I don't want to cut anybody else off, but what these people are doing to me, and I'm asking you not to support them because they're frauds. I know that you like my old content, I'm 40 and probably not going to make that type of content because, first of all, because of the abuse, second of all, because of my age, and, third of all, because I do have issues with amnesia. But my thing is that we can rewrite this, or I can write this, So, anyways, after Alice Glass and Grimes and all that, and then I think I was doing Kim Petras, so it was about 9, 10, 11 years old, and I had schooling. I guess I was like in a high school project, but I was an elementary child, and I was just considered very smart, or they let me in as a smart kid. I don't know how I got so lucky. I don't know how I got so lucky. Anyways, this was this awesome train program that my brother got me involved. I wanted to make roller coasters, and he helped me get into like a high school work program. Basically, I built Amtrak. I didn't build all of it, you know, but it was a program that we did in school. There were some other singers who rode my train, and they were very jealous. I guess sometime around then they knew that I was going to do or had recently done the Barbie movie. And because they had tranquilized me, I didn't even know that. So some of these other singers were jealous because I was weirdo Barbie, and what did they say about weirdo Barbie, you know, was the most beautiful Barbie, and then she got played with too hard, and then people were stuck going to her to help them look better, and they thought it would be a funny joke to do that to me in real life, but here I am. What happened on the train is, long story short, these other singers on the train, somebody found out was worth a lot of money. The project that I was doing was substantially worth more than some of the other projects. I was already a successful singer. I had already been around the world performing shows. Something that you might start to notice when you watch my videos, you'll start to notice and you'll start to see it in content. When you see content online, you'll start to notice how fake, I don't want to say that it's fake necessarily, but you'll start to notice that it's promoted fraudulently. You'll start to hear and see people talking, and you'll start to notice that just little things that you'll start to notice. A lot of these singers have promoted that they've been around the world and done concerts and tours, and they didn't. They didn't really go to all the shows. A lot of those shows are from like 30 years ago. People claim that they've gone to Kim Petras shows recently, but I'm the original artist. So I don't know if people are just lying, because I've considered that I have been to concerts, and I don't see anything weird about them, like, hiding it for 30 years. And it's just so weird that they would do that. But, well, you know, they called the company Grimes. So, you know, go figure. I had already been snuffed or tranquilized before and robbed, and so these other singers knew me as someone who had actually gone around the world and actually performed around the world. And I'm not saying that other singers haven't actually done that. I'm sure that many of them have, but some of them have not actually done that. So these singers, I am not completely sure. I have presented to you a few reasons about why, because I know that a lot of people want to know why, whether it's important or not. There's some logical reason why they would do this. They begin to tear up the train, begin to sabotage the calculations and so forth, and so they had gone one night and they had stayed out in the forest. I had been staying on the train overnight, and if I remember right, the train went all the way to California, and then it would come back overnight for the morning 6 o'clock route. And so it was before 6 o'clock, so nobody would have gotten on the train yet at the time of this alleged train crash. So I had talked to the conductors about them sabotaging the numbers, because the train, like, would go on a hill or whatever, it would go around on a hill, and every 2 or 3 years it had to be manually, the brakes had to be manually pulled. So as a train conductor, there's not really a lot to do, but you have to know when that time comes that you have to do that. So these celebrities camped out in the forest, and the time came and the train was supposed to stop, and some of them had spoken to the train conductors. They were like, hey, we'll stop the train and you can rape her, and basically they were offering me up, you know, to the train conductors to child molest me. So the train was stopped, and the other singers came out, and there was a big fight, and the train did not get in a train crash. Basically, just my cart was pushed over. There was like a whole train, or it was just my cart that was pushed over. So there was a big fight. So I got like $85 million. Seriously. They didn't feel like anybody else deserved it. You know, they tried to fraud a train crash. I was the one who built it. I don't know what happened after that. I got snuffed. I had an apartment here and an apartment there, and there's a whole lot of story that gets into a different part of the story. This money was in my apartment, and even though I know like I was only 9 years old, but I was an orphan, and so somehow I had ended up getting this apartment. I guess I was taken out of the apartment, snuffed. I didn't know where it was, so somehow I ended up from one apartment to another apartment that by the landlords, and the landlords had gone into my apartment and they had found a bunch of money, and so they kind of acted like they found it, but they didn't just find it. They went into my private residence that I had paid for. I paid it was a dumpy apartment, I'm not gonna lie, but I was a child and I tried to do this smartly. Not telling anybody about the money didn't stop them from finding out. I don't know how they smelled it, but they knew. I just wanted to be humble and start good with the apartment manager, and I offered $1 million to buy it because it was kind of a dumpy apartment. My thinking was that nobody would ever think that a millionaire lived there. I knew that I was only 9. I was afraid to touch the money because I didn't know what it was. I knew that I had been through something bad and I didn't know what it was. They did terrible things to me. Some of them are their own individual story, and some of child porn massacration. There's no way this is okay. I had amnesia from being tranquilized, so I was afraid to mess with this money too much. I always thought that I would always be able to come back to this apartment, and I wanted to finish school. I didn't have to do that. You know, I was a rich kid. I was an orphan. I could have moved to Santorini. I could have been, you know, I could have lived the Barbie life. I hate to say this, but being humble and not being greedy, stepping back and saying this is a lot of money, I don't want to ruin it, that kind of ruined it for me, because they took all this money and they kind of just acted like they found it, but they didn't just find it. They knew that that was my apartment, they knew that was my stuff and all that. So the best that this landlord was willing to give back, considering that I was a 9-year-old child, supposed to be a millionaire and nowhere to go. He moved me into a different apartment that was nicer, that was downtown. He sort of got me set up, starting to do Confederates. You know, they snuffed me and they said, you know, we want you to write a sex album. We don't care that you're a child. We want you to do it. We're going to murder you anyways. You know, you can do this and you can live a little bit longer. We know that you like to sing and dance. This can be your last goodbye. We're going to, you know, they were threatening to force people, good people, people that I trust, and, you know, they were threatening to force people who should not have been having sex with me to have sex with me. You know, they were threatening to murder everyone. You know, it really and truthfully was this crazy, sick experience. And I don't want to say that, you know, like, I'm my own biggest fan. You know, nobody could be more hurt than me that this fell through, because I'm the artist, and whether you like it or not, that was my passion. And, you know, I got to this point in high school where I didn't even know that I liked to sing. I got kicked out of choir. It was just weird. So anyways, they moved me from the outskirts in a ghetto apartment, and then they moved me downtown to a skyrise apartment. It was pretty nice. And so I had my studio there, and things fell through. But basically what this management said is that They promised to take care of me and such, but they wanted other girls. Other girls wanted to get their hand in it. The other singers wanted to get their hand on my money. And so basically they told me that they were starting a music production. But ultimately what happened was that this guy stole all the money, and this cartel or group of people stole all the content, they stole all the money, and they put me out naked as a little kid. They took me to child massacrations and such like that, and I lived. I'm still here. It's my money. It was all my money. It was all my train money. So all these people were tranquilizing me, thinking that they're going to get fraud this train wreck, and the frauding the train wreck didn't work. And so they started this music industry to get paid out of my train wreck money, and that's how they decided that they were going to take all the money and they weren't going to give me anything. And I'm on Social Security. I can't even get appropriate medical tests and treatments that I need, because I'm not sure who's responsible for approving or disproving what type of medical treatments or covering up my true experience. But it's not fair. It's just not fair, because that took my whole life. I was just a little kid when that happened. They put synthol in me and everything else when I was 9 years old. Blew me up like a pregnant person. When I was a child, I was always the runt. I was kind of tall when I was younger because I went on a growth spurt, so I was a little bit bigger than the other kids, but I was always the leanest. I came to this point in life where I just started being fat and people were making fun of me, and I never knew my whole life that there was something else more serious going on. And my parents or my adopted parents, whoever those people are that had me under their roof, they were just taking advantage of me. They didn't care. It's a lot of people, I think that a lot of celebrities will say that maybe they missed or maybe they also got snuffed, but every single person, magazines, sound guy, collaboration, Nita popped and or raped me, robbed me, everyone did something, and this was my money to begin with. I don't know what logic in their mind made them, they just wanted it, and it's not like I wouldn't have shared. That's how they got it from me, because I'm soft. I'm a very soft person. I've been demonized a lot, and I do have emotions. I do have logical emotions. I do get angry, but I do have feelings, like the Alice Glass situation. I knew that I had to defend myself. It was going to be this guy that was going to child molest me, and had already been through something. It was going to be him or me. And it was just a sick game that they played with me, and I don't think that anyone should think that that's okay. I don't want anyone to think that that's what I'm going to make this about, because it's not. I don't believe in doing that stuff to people. I know that it happens, but I don't believe that that is the correct thing to do. So here I am, and we have this chance to change it. I just want to say about Duffy, I saw that some people were following accounts, and some of the accounts are checked and some of them not. It's really hard to determine. Sometimes I don't know if any of these accounts are legitimate, because I feel like, I've seen some ads where he's promoting it, and I don't feel comfortable with the way that he's promoting it without speaking to me, because we were very close, but I haven't seen him or talked to him comprehensively in person in years and years and years, and we have not really been in contact. That's not right. I have to speak out about this, because people will think that it is him, and I don't feel like, I don't know, maybe he would. Maybe I just don't know him, you know. Maybe I just was a naive little girl and I put my heart and my trust in too much. But I do remember some things that I didn't agree with, people saying dishonorable things about my brother, just because I felt like it did not go down that way for me. That's not what the Illuminati's about. So first of all, I'll put it to you like this. I'm the high priestess. So before you go out there and saying that it's Satan worship, which I don't mind you saying that. If you view me as Lucifer or Satan or whatever, I kind of don't mind that. But typically people use the word, I've used the word Satan worship to refer to people who murder kids, rape kids, heinous, fraudulent crimes, just doing bad things, that usually leads to serial killing or provoking large amounts of people to kill themselves or other people. And I want that to be the first foundation, is that this is the Illuminati that everyone's been looking for. Sorry, it is what it is. And the first foundation is that I want people to know about the Illuminati, and me being the high priestess is that I make the rules. Liz Y2K, I rule the world. Hey, but no, seriously, I want people to know this, that I make the rules. And this is not an evil foundation. This is not a facetious foundation. If you want to consider it Satan worshiping, you're welcome to do that. You're welcome to believe whatever you want to believe. I was glass, okay? So it's a very humbling thing to say, like, to wake up one day, you don't know anything about the Illuminati, and then you go down this rabbit hole. I went down this rabbit hole and found out that, to the best of my understanding, it's my responsibility. Why hasn't anyone ever really been speaking out, like, oh, it's so secret? And I'm not saying that it's not secret. We could do stuff like that. It's just so open right now. I just want people to know that this is the Illuminati. For those to who it matters, who really take this stuff seriously, who really put their heart and trust into this. My credibility, Alice Glass, Grimes, if that's what you want to do, I'm telling you, if you're not soft, or if you're too hard, you kicked out. Sorry, no, but seriously, I want this to be Illuminati. The light, it means the light, Çlaire Lightening, we're the light, Matt Beats, that's Duffy, so it makes sense that we get conjured and stuck in being the Illuminati. I've done some more research and stuff about Mac and Claire, Boucher, and the father was, anyways, and I did some research, and somehow see, our names were changed because he adopted me, but there was some content that I found that said that it was Satan worship beings. So I'm just saying that if you feel that way, I don't mind, but I want you to know now that it's not typically what people think of as Satan worshiping. It's not doing evil things. Like I said, we don't want corrupt police running the prison, or we'll have the prisoners running the prison and there won't be any prison. And a lot of people could change if they had a right type of prison to go to. Some people are bad because they need someone to, they're just in the dark and they need someone to bring them to the light. The Illuminati, okay? This is really just my first post about it, and I just want people to know that I'm here. So, talk to me. Write in the chats. Talk to each other. Tell me what you think about this. I want people to still want to be in the Illuminati. I'm sorry if it's not the evil dark dungeon that you were expecting. I'm sorry if it's not the psycho crazy society that you were, if you were hoping for that. You know, if you think that you have to make human sacrifices to be a celebrity and all that, it's not, it didn't happen like that. You know, they promote this stuff. It's like the other content, you know, they promote this stuff fraudulently to ruin our reputation. We are trying to do something beautiful. We are trying to create art and share light and love, and it's really a job, you know, like we want to have jobs and other life and stuff too, and I'm just on Social Security, you know, so I don't know if this is something. How much of a job do y'all want me to be? Do y'all want to be involved? I mean, for those of who it matters, like I'm not trademarked or anything, but for those for whom which this is a very sacred issue and what it matters, I by inheritance, what I did with Alice Glass was my initiation to the High Priestess, and so now this is my responsibility, and along with the Kim Petras thing, and that is how the Illuminati came. So do you want to join my Illuminati? Like, nobody's filled out any forms and stuff. I guess there are some things that may be Masonic or other types of gangs and cartels and martyrs, etc., religions, occults. But I guess this one, for those of who it matters, this one is mine by inheritance. Once again, I have credibility through Alice Glass and Grimes. I'm not really sure how much that even counts, because they're promoted fraudulently. But you know, even if the times and the dates and the concerts and stuff are messed up, you know, you see the pictures, you see me growing up, and you know, you see the events, and I mean, all I can do is to tell you the best I can to tell you of how much is AI, how much is makeup, and how much is real. And you know, this is a particular event that is very real. And if you are thinking, you know, how much of, when you watch scary movies, how much of those scary movies are real, and if that scares you, it should, because I am waking up and remembering, you know, these things from personal experience, and I'm telling you that, you know, some of it's staged and some of it's staged, like set up, you know, or like blackmail, and some of it's pure acting, totally fake blood, makeup and stuff, and some of it is just straight up real. And I know that people don't want to believe that, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow, that when you watch some of these scary movies, some of them are real, and some scenes, some things are real. And you know, I'm telling you that from experience, and people don't want to hear it. I've said that before, or I've considered it before. People don't like to hear that. You know, they enjoy watching scary movies and cuddling or getting scared or being sinister. They don't want to know that it's real. There's not much. I don't know what to say, you know. I guess I'll have to get a pen and a paper and start writing things down, writing ideas down and pitching them, or just doing them and offering them, because I know that a lot of people have been looking for this answer. I, as the High Priestess, have been looking for this answer, and that is just, to the best of my knowledge, the truth about the Illuminati, you know, the actual situation. So here we are. I'm Çlaire Lightening. Miles Glass, Liz Y2K, XCX, Crimes, Kate McKinnon, Sarah Snyder, Natalia Grace. I was involved with a lot of projects. I'm the victim of a lot of fraud. I just want y'all to have the answer that you've been looking for. So I'm sorry if it's disappointing. I think that we can do something. That's what people want from me, you know. We can do that. You know, I've said it before, you know, we can do that. So you might have heard something wrong or different, and you might be expecting something, and I want y'all to know that I'm a soft person. It's my responsibility. I'm a soft person. My responsibility, my rules. I guess we'll see, you know. Let's talk about it. Any ideas of where we want to see this go in the future to repair the reputation and to set a foundation? And you know, I know that's my responsibility. If people want to speak with me about ideas, if somebody wants their ideas about where to go with this, even if I don't like your ideas, or you might have some influence if you want to, maybe if I only like, maybe you like black, and I was like, but I don't like your ideas, and I was like, well, you know, we could do that one thing black, and that part is really good, and you missed the whole point that I didn't like your ideas. But if that's something that you're really interested in, don't be afraid if I don't like your ideas, because we can influence each other. Now, I am esoteric, so, you know, it does give a lot of leg room. You know, I'm a woman now, I'm not a little kid anymore, so there's a lot of things that I didn't like going on because I was a child. It's really, sometimes it's just the angle of the camera. People call me an elf. Being an elf was a thing. That reminds me that, you know, the angles used for the cameras and such, and editing, and I remember that I also wore stilts, so people don't see me as small or as young as I really was. And people, a lot of the abuse was covered up with the content. A lot of content was mixed together to cover up several stories and to discredit people from their content. It's a very big issue that's going on with the fraud and stuff. So a lot of people have spoken about, you know, the celebrities aren't getting paid enough. They're not even considering what they did to me. A lot of people want to claim to be a part of the Illuminati, or that the singers are behind the Illuminati. No, you're not. Whatever y'all doing, for those of whom it matters, and take it seriously and sacredly, we don't want to go back to the Stone Age. You know, we've lost some incredible power. We have recently, not we, as in me, not that I wasn't involved in some way, but, you know, AI has been presented, and a lot of people believe in something else, some type of Shazam type power that we have lost. These are the type of things that I consider to be Illuminati. Magical, when you think like magic and Illuminati and things like that, you know, like AI and types of Shazam type powers, what I think. I think about the police, you know, comparing the police to prisoners. I think about flowers and strawberries, and you know, I don't think about whips and chains and knives. When I think about Illuminati, you know, it means light, and so I just want to share some of this light and this intel of my experience. You don't have to accept me as the leader or the high priestess of the occult or Illuminati. You don't have to accept me as the person who started it. I didn't. You don't have to accept me as the person who inherited it. You are welcome to believe what you want to believe, but this is my truth, and a lot of people don't care. A lot of people just want to join something that sounds cool. So even if you don't see it the same way as me, you know, a lot of people still want to join a Grimes and Duffy occult, and so I'm just letting you know that this is what it is. This is my truth, and I'm the Grimes that claimed the occult. I'm the Grimes that, you know, validated what happened. I'm the Alice Glass that did what it took to inherit being the high priestess. I've heard a lot of things being said. I've heard that I was a slut. It doesn't matter if I was a little hoe when I was 3 years old, because I was 3 years old and people aren't supposed to be treating me that way. It doesn't matter if they thought I was older or if I thought I looked 18 or not. I told them that I was 3 years old. So a lot of people are spreading rumors saying that being the high priestess means you're a prostitute of Satan worshiping, or no, it's not. You know, those people that did what they did, who assaulted me, and this has nothing to do with the occult or what the occult believes in or practices. And even if Duffy tells you something different, you know, like I said, we're not even speaking, so I would still like to because people are like, oh, Duffy's the scribe and Grimes is the high priestess, and I would like to keep him involved with that, but I can't approve things. This is really a big deal, and I just want people to know that I can't approve things that Duffy does if we're not communicating about this. And like I said, you know, that was a very long time ago. He's still my family. You know, I still care about him, and you know, of course I want him to be involved, but I've just found accounts that I feel like is involved with and about the occult that he wouldn't do, or that I feel like he shouldn't do without communicating with me. Even if I think that's a great idea, I think that we should have communicated at the time, you know, without snuffers, without, you know, issues, especially because I'm an adult now. There were some issues with him adopting me where he wasn't able to fully adopt me because people were starting problems, and I just want y'all to know, you know, he was a great guy, you know, I loved him, and I still do. And I guess maybe I'll talk about that another day, because people want to know the truth. You know, if you look up things about me, like who are my parents and stuff, and that's not true. And, you know, it's really weird for me to be like, well, I was sort of an orphan, or, you know, this or that happened, or that's not really my mom or dad. I'm not from Germany. I'm not from Montreal, and I don't know those people. I've never seen them. I don't speak German. I don't speak Russian. I did. See, what happened was, I mentioned earlier that we had intel that my content was going to be stolen and they were going to tranquilize me. So I learned to speak backwards, and I made a lot of songs or embedded content particularly in my Grimes content and in my Kim Petras content, it's not as prevalent, but there were a few Easter eggs that I left myself so that I would be able to remember and find myself when the frauds released it, because I knew that it would get popular and eventually I would find it and I would realize that I was that person. It's really surprising to find out that I was a lot of people, and I'm like, I'm my own biggest fan, and I mean, that's like so sick. You know, that could have, my whole life really could have gone a different direction. Everyone's has. This is what they've done to me affects a lot of people, like millions of people, because as a celebrity and people, you know, they go to your merchandise site, they buy your content, you know, they advertise you, they make things, you know, they pour their heart and soul out, and all just to find out, you know, that they're frauds. Because people would tell me that before, you know, they'd be like, well, they have a PR who runs their accounts and stuff, and I would be like, you know, that doesn't make sense. But to find out that they don't even know that they exist, you know, because one of my caregivers would be like, they don't even tell me they don't know I exist, and that's very heartbreaking, you know, for especially a lot of young children who look up to celebrities and they find out that, or they get a mention from them and their whole life is set, you know, that, and they never know that didn't really happen, and I don't think that that's right to do that to people, you know, because one thing leads to the other, and then all of a sudden they're schizophrenic because some counselor knows that these accounts are fraudulent, and some little kid says, you know, some counselor was like, oh, stick him in the schizo tank and drug him up. And they, you know, like, this is a serious issue that really happens to people, and it's not right. So I'm here. I feel like it's my responsibility, and I need to take a stand and speak out, because, you know, I'm an influencer. People are eventually going to find out. They're going to realize who I am, and I want to say I'm here. And hey, let's do it. What do you got to lose? You know, I've already lost everything, so let's do it.